What's up, fellas? Just getting set up here. What's up, fellas? Tim the Tat. Who do we got in here? We got Palsy Way, Cape Fishing Pro, Tiny Tim, Scientific Gamer. My gosh, man, that has been a minute since I've seen you. Scientific Gamer. Spencer, what's going on, brother? Gunner, what's going on, yo? Oh, we got some repeats, man. Welcome, welcome. All right. It's been a minute. I didn't go live yesterday, but that's all right. I figure we go live tonight, do our nightly thing. Got the bucket of tools, and I got a video guy coming out for you guys here in a minute. You guys are gonna like too. There's I don't want to spoil it, but our crappie slump has been taken out. We are now on the board. All right, what are we doing tonight, guys? What are we doing? We tying flies. We're doing jigs. We want to do some salmon jigs. What do we feel like tying, y'all? Spencer, good to have you back, brother. Gunner, good to have you back, man. A bass recently on one lure and one lure alone. Guess what it is? Bass. The Senko worm. That's always a go-to, right? Make sure y'all are throwing some likes on the stream for me, boys. All right. What are we tying? Guys? Let's see what we got for our tools here. Can't read that, but welcome anyway, brother. Some jigs. All right, man. You got it. I want to tie up some smaller crappie jigs because the ones that I actually recently used are the ones that I got a crappie that was like this big on. So we're gonna do some of that. We're gonna pull out the box O jigs, I think. We got a ton of the big roundies too that we need to use as well. But for these crappie ones, I'm gonna pick a few of these like smaller shad dart ones, and we're gonna make some dope stuff out of these. Oh yeah, Cape Fishing Pro, you haven't seen our new background, our new backdrop for the stream, bro? I even got like a little mood lighting back here. I got you guys night light going on. Pretty soon there'll be like some stars and whatnot. Oh yeah, dude. We're upgrading up in here, man. Hey, David Kia. What up, Oregon? What's going on, broski? How you been, brother? Thank you again to all you guys too, by the way, that are longtime followers. We finally made it to 1,000, man. So I just want to shoot it out there that I really thank you, and I've got some stuff in the works coming up here soon. So as a special thank you, but I gotta let it play out first. It may not make sense now, but you'll see what I mean later. All right, so we got a pink one here. I think a pink one would look good with maybe some white feathers along with that. Ooh, maybe some red. Damn, we already got one? Cool kid, I have never played Roblox, man. I'm old. What's going on, Brody? Oh, sorry, Brooke. Sorry, chat was right in line with my vice here. Another 25 minutes at work, brother. All right, man. Hope it's been an easy day for you. Ooh, this vice is tight. That does not look good. Red would look good. Red would look good. What do you mean? Like the feather? Dude, I know, dude. I know, gamer. It's been a minute since you've been here, brother. Yeah, we're 1,050 as of my last check here. We're just grinding away, man. Grinding away. But it's honestly thanks to the community we have here on YouTube, man. And it's actually been quite a bit of an interesting grow as well, because unlike others, like, I am purely YouTube. I do not post on any other social media platform, Facebook, none of that. It is just strictly here on YouTube. So, as being a natural growth on YouTube has been pretty sick. All right, so we're gonna throw some white underneath. And I'm just gonna stack these bad boys up, just like that. Is my music okay for you guys? Thank you, K-Fishing Pro, man. I appreciate it, brother. I mean, you guys have been here for a while now, so I appreciate all that. Spencer, what's going on, man? Last week I had a lot of luck with dry fly poppers and hopper. Dude, so I was out on my last fishing trip this last weekend, and a guy that I met out on the lake, he was coming in as I was heading out, and old timer, he said, yeah, I was using flies and whatnot, and using some underwater stuff, and wasn't working out for me. And then he goes, man, as soon as I threw on a popper, my whole world changed. He goes, I got nothing but dinks, but damn it, they were just everywhere biting off poppers. So I was like, but the only thing I had at the time was a freaking like all my microfish and stuff, because I was trying to redeem myself from my last video here. But yeah, we did well. Without spoiling anything, we did well. Where's the trash metal? I'll leave the trash metal to you, my friend. You know that. I got the 50s vibe, the oldies. I'm trying to put people to sleep. I'm excited though, you guys, because starting to ramp up here for salmon season. It's coming around the bend, and I'm really excited to put some of that content on the channel for you guys. Reminds you of Disneyland. A good bass, right on, dude. I've been getting skunked the past 10 days and going out tomorrow and changing spot time. Damn. Getting skunked the past 10 days. I'm going out tomorrow, changing the spot and time even. Yeah, dude, sometimes you just gotta flip it up, man. Like, I think you commented on my my short here recently. It was like, for some reason, you go to a lake that you caught a PB at, even though you've gotten skunked 1,000 times before, and you just keep want to go back. You just keep want to go back to that for some freaking reason. So I had to force myself to not do that this go around and change it up slightly, and I'm glad I did. Let's see here. I don't want to add too much other colors here. A little bit of black flashy blue I think would look good here. You guys know I'm random about it until I find something that works. Slamming the salmon. You damn right, dude. Mike is getting pumped. That guy's been jonesing for some fish lately. I haven't had time to get out on the big boat and do any like actual going for bass either. So I got to do that here soon too. You guys haven't seen my big boat a whole lot, other than like the trout fishing videos and that kind of stuff. But I'm hoping to do some smallies here soon. Was the music volume okay, you guys? I'm not blasting you out, and it's not like going all crazy, is it? End of the month and chilling vacation. Right on, brother. Keep it up, Tiny. I have the best week of my life last week in Montana, and up until then, I was getting skunked. Also, a bunch of gear. Yeah, man. It's that's just it, man. Honestly, like it's a pursuit, and like my big bass that I caught, and then like the video coming up, you guys will see me catch the crappie. Again, it was both times. Oh, dude, it slipped off. Now I've got struggle issues. Ah, let's just reset that. Both times I was like, okay, great. I'm gonna upload another video of me not catching a damn fish, and it's just literally just as I was like losing hope is when I finally hooked on to what I wanted. Where's my glue at? Where's my glue at? Oh, here it is. Ooh, where's my flashlight at? There it is. Looks like a Pokeball. Boom, 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 boom. It totally does, doesn't it? My poker. There it is. Circle that around. Get all those threads nice and covered up. Yeah, right. Watch that video, by the way, K Fishing Pro, of your fly making, dude. You're getting really good, brother. Keep it up, man. But you need to damn, look at the UV on that. Isn't that crazy? You need to turn your comments on, brother. I want to comment on your stuff. Otherwise, the only thing you get from me is a like. First one of the night, fellas. Whoop. There it goes. Shad Dart crappie jig. Yo, Drift. What's going on, man? Been a minute. Glad to have you back, dude. Oh no, dude. There's many better out there than me. I just fumble my way through it. All right, we're gonna do some of the round head ones. I'm gonna get a couple set up for myself here because I want some of these really small ones. Because I figured out a better way of using my bobber for crappie too. There we go. And I like using the round head ones because we get to have a little bit more fun with what we use. Fly Creation, what's going on, brother? Had a long time, man. I don't know what I did wrong. I don't know. There's nothing. It might be restrictions on your channel. You need to go to YouTube Studios and turn them on. Or maybe you just got me blocked or something. But I see your videos. I watch them. I just I can't comment on them, brother. Okay, so we are gonna go with this really dope disco blue jig head here. I'm gonna tie it up like I do similar. Well, I'm gonna do it similar to the way that Billy Grin's Pit Stop. This guy right here. He makes his kind of signature flies. Let me go get one for you guys. Hang on a second. He calls these his gammas. So he calls them the pink gamma, and then he's got the blue gamma. And he's been crushing it with these on like the crop, with the small fish, micro fishing anyway. You see how he's got those feelers out the front? We're gonna do something similar to that, but on this. By the way, pink gammas, blue gammas, pretty sick. You got a new vise? That's dope, Hunter. That was sick, man. I was watching the Villigren stream earlier today, and he was telling me how he thinks he got shadow banned. And I was like, what? And he's like, yeah, dude, I got shadow banned. I don't even know what that meant. And if it's shadow banned, don't you like, isn't the whole point of shadow ban is like, you can't see that you're banned? Dude, they totally do, Kia. You're totally right. They totally remind me of the movie Tremors. So I bought a bunch of marabou. Well, I got a bunch of marabou, and I didn't realize that it got spay marabou. So now I have a bunch of the spay marabou stuff, and I'm going to try and use it for some of the stuff that I like to do. So don't cringe too hard here, David, to watch me just tear away at a spay marabou. I might just try doing like the dubbing loop style with these and see if I can't get more that way. Time to start making. Hey, Vince, welcome. Time to start making salmon steelhead flies with that, man. Oh, the spay marabou? I could. I have to learn how to do that first. Okay, we got blue 140. Shit, man. Drift, how am I doing? I'm doing all right, man. Haven't been on in a little while. I don't know if I streamed much last week, but our videos are doing good, and we're kicking. We're kicking right along, man. So I'm just doing my thing. How about you, brother? Oh. And I lost my my threader, which really sucks. I'm not very good at getting this through here. There we go. Ken, welcome, man. Yeah, dude, it's been a minute actually since I've seen you. How you been, brother? All right, we got that blue one tied in there. You guys can't ever see that well. Focus in, camera. There we go. Doesn't need to be perfect here. Then we're gonna grab our blue marabou. And I like to go like, I don't know, I grab it like shank's worth. Can go a little bit over, but you know, at least somewhat the shank's worth for the main body. And then we're gonna tie that in just like so. And then we're gonna go all the way back up to the head with it. Cut out all the crap. And we're gonna tie all that in. The reason why you do that all the way back up to the front is because it gives you kind of a uniform body moving forward. It makes it much easier to tie a fly with, or tie anything really, because if I was to cut it there, it would like lump, and then you would just, if I was to cut it like here, it would just be a lump, and then it'd be really thin moving forward. And so your fly, if you're tying an actual fly, would look really funky at that point. Let's see here. We got blue. Yeah, I do. I got this like aquavale stuff, which we'll use. And I think what we'll use more. I'm gonna have. Yeah, we'll use this black. Black and blue, tried and true, baby. Tried and true, black and blue. All right, man, Drift. Good having you back, brother. Thank you much for hanging out as long as you did, dude. Truly. Ooh, can we make this a little piece work? Probably not. We'll go ahead and just grab a new piece. All right, man. See you in a bit. No worries at all. Just sitting here doing my thing, chatting with people. Okay, tying in that chenille. Yeah, and then we'll tie this in too. And what we'll do with this, because we're just experimenting away here, is I am going to. I can't do the hat tonight, guys. It's too hot. I'm going to do loose wraps going forward with this. We want to make sure that we tie that in all the way to the back of the same other chenille. And then we're going to get our thread all the way to the front. And we'll leave that be for now, and we'll come back to the chenille. We gotta get a half hitch in there though. Hope everybody had a fun 4th. Get that wrapped up. Ooh, okay. I got a hot mess back here. You guys can't see it, but that other stuff is just absolutely wrapped around the vise. We'll do it by hand at this point. How do I do what, K-Fishing Pro? Tie it with my hands. So it's a half hitch. Let me cut this off. All I'm doing is I take my finger, I put it on the inside of the line, and then I wrap it around my finger one time, and then I can get it up over the jig head, but in your case it'd be like a, so a jig head I have to use 2 fingers, but for your fly you can only use, you probably just only need to use 1. But you basically get it up over the top and you just make a loop. And then you cinch it down. And the thing is, you don't want to just like let go because it's going to do that on you. You just want to hold it and pull your bobbin away and then let it tighten up on you and basically pluck it out of your fingers. And then at that point, you got a little half hitch in there. And so this now, the bobbin can just sit there and it's not going to unwind everything I did. It's kind of like a checkpoint. I use it as a checkpoint, I guess. All right, we're going to cut some of this off. And like I said, we're going to do short wraps with this going forward. Maybe I didn't like how that was. Hold on a second. Let's try going this way. See if we have a better success that way. See if it wants to do what I want it to do there. Yeah, I like that a little bit better. It's kind of doing like a woolly bugger effect. Let me chop off the extra. Then I'm going to pull that back and just start doing a couple of finisher wraps there. Now it's looking extra buggy. Yo, Nimby, thanks for stopping in, brother. Appreciate it, man. Bit of a slow night, but We're doing all right, man. Oops. Yeah, there we go. Okay, now we're going to throw in some rubber legs. This is what makes these ones kind of fun. And I got the blue and the purple here, right? And then I'm going to take and make flies for crappie. Yeah, I got to come up with some designs that I like for crappies, for flies. I mostly use jigs underneath the bobber. So that's what I know how to make, but I definitely want to make some for sure, Hunter. Anyway, so we got purple and blue here. And then I got these legs that are actually purple on one side. Oops. And then like blue on the other. Super rad. Oh, nice. You tied a woolly bugger, dude? Those are my favorite. Those are kind of my go-tos. Okay, tie that in like that. I'm going to chop it off like there. You guys can't see what I'm doing on this side too well, but you will in a minute once I spin this thing. There's those two little pieces there, those little legs on all four corners. And we're going to add two more on this side. If I can get these to cooperate, that is. Ow. Hook is sharp. There we go. And then we just trim those back like so. Cut the loose end. Splay them out before we do our finishing wraps here. Just like that. And then we'll get our whip finish and finish this bad boy off. Cut her free. And then this one, we're just going to use a little bit of the dabbing glue. And we are set, son. Did I cancel your comment? I did not cancel your comment, Tennis. Unless someone else in the moderators did. Yeah, it's not bad, is it? I think the blue tail might be a little long, but it looks buggy as all get out, so I think that'll work good. That's two down. All right, let's do another one. We're going to change it up just slightly. Purple jig, and we're going to need purple line. Dang, I can't get this to thread through. I was asking if you're crafting a lake or salt lure. I don't see where it got deleted, but if it did, I'm sorry about that. I can see chat, man. I didn't see where that got deleted, but these are all lake lures. I don't do anything salt. I am freshwater fishing only. I go for salmon, steelhead, crappie, trout, anything that swims, basically saltwater. Freshwater. Although I have done some saltwater fishing. I did like some saltwater fishing in Hawaii for like mahi mahi, that kind of stuff. That was pretty cool. I'll bring out my photos. You guys can see some of my stuff. So, starting for bass, you know, I catch a lot of smallmouth bass that I'm trying to get some more of that footage on here now. Now that it's kind of like season for it. So yeah, a lot of smallmouth bass. And then, like I said, I did some saltwater fishing for mahi mahi. This is probably one of my favorite videos because that was like a fish on my bucket list. And I ended up catching 7 of them. That was a super awesome day. And that whole video is actually on the channel too. So if you want to check that out. And then I also want to do some of this year on the channel because I'm still kind of fresh on YouTube. We haven't even made it through a full season of fishing yet. But that's a king salmon that I caught this year or a couple years back. Egg and roe fishing on one of the rivers here. And then this is another king that I caught on the rivers here with jigs that I actually create right here on this live stream. I use that for these fish here. And this was my biggest one at 28 pounds. And that was the whole lot for the day. I was not the only one fishing that day, but, you know, had to get the hero shot with all the fish. But yeah, man, do all kinds of different fishing. Yeah, dude, the mahis were awesome, dude. It was funny too. I don't know, K fishing, if there was like that post that one I did where it was like all of my fish that I've caught, and I posted them, you know, in my shorts and whatnot. Some guy claimed that I didn't catch them and that they were all AI. AI photos and videos. I found that pretty funny. What do you fish for, Tennis? You're still hanging out with us? I know. Yeah, I thought that was pretty funny. I could have. Damn it! This is spay as well. I don't know what I'm gonna do with all this spay stuff, man. Let's use. I don't know. Let's go with some white because I just don't feel like battling everything. White's always good for a tail piece too, anyway. If I can find a good piece of marabou here. Ben Pierce, welcome, by the way. And no, not at all. If you subscribe to me and follow and you want to make lures of your own, dude, I will happy to walk all the way through it with you. No big deal at all. I'm not good at making them, man. I promise. So that goes to tell you, if I can make them, anybody can make them. We're going to do a little bit of white, and then we'll do the red like we did the last time. I think that would look... Oh, do I have black? I do have black. So we'll do actually some white and black on the tail piece here. This time I'm going to keep it a little bit shorter. And I'm going to wrap that just like so, getting our tail piece in there. And then I want to make sure to kind of cut this near the front. And then we start wrapping that up. And I do loose wraps going forward just to get everything kind of down and in its place. And then I can kind of work my way back and forth to tighten everything up. But since we're going to overlap that one, we don't need to worry about it as much. Actually, let's do some fun shit. We're going to do some fun things with this one, actually. Let's grab a little bit of red. Yeah, dude, and you got like dubbing down pretty good, which is really impressive because dubbing is actually one of the harder things to do. I wish you had some feathers to work with, man. I'd love to see what you could do with some feathers. Maybe we'll make one of our big ones next. We haven't made one of the big salmon jigs in a long minute. And it's awfully quiet tonight, so maybe that will bring some folks in to chat with us. Oh, 100% that'd be good for trout, dude. I use actually, hold on a second. I make some other stuff that would be killer for trout. Are you trolling in a boat or are you from the bank? Hold on a second. Clint River Bank. Okay. Well, these could even work on the bank. I use these behind my trolling on my boat. But they're double rig hookups, and they're red top, so they look like an egg in the front, and then they just got some flasher. But I put these behind a flasher as I'm towing them on my boat, and they just give a popping motion forward like this. And man, these things are absolutely killer. They start to produce fish really quickly. And I tie these up on my live stream, and I show you guys how to tie these. But these are really easy, and you really only need like 2 products to make them. The key is you're going to need a rotary vise like this one here. This is a rotary vise that we use to tie these things up on. There we go. Homemade load for a business? You mean like lead? Oh, make some homemade lures? Right on, dude. Well, make sure that you follow the channel, or you comment on some of my videos so that way I can subscribe to you back and check out some of the stuff you do, man. So we got kind of a gradient now. So now we got white, red, and then to that black. I think that's going to be really good for this one. Oh, right on, Ben. Thank you, brother. Appreciate it, man. And then for our chenille moving forward, let's do something. Oh yeah, let's do. We're gonna mix this tube flash chenille with some flashy boo chenille, and I'll show you guys how I mix these. I think this is gonna look sick. We're gonna do it in white because I think that's just gonna stand out well with this one. I mostly fish saltwater here in Italy. Oh, right on, dude. Are biologically, most of the are biologically dead, so there aren't many fish, mostly trout. Water temperature is constantly rising. I go for sea bass, tuna. Hell yeah, dude. I do some squid fishing too. Actually, I have a video on my channel of me doing some squid fishing here in like downtown Seattle, Washington. I want to do some more of that too. That was a lot of fun. But I really like the craft behind freshwater lures. Yeah, I mean saltwater has its own craft too, man. I mean some of the lures that they used when they were the uh, mahi mahi, or we were trolling for sailfish. Some of the lures that they had, man, were just amazing looking lures. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to cut a strand off of both, and I'm going to leave it somewhat long. So I got a strand of that UV flashy, and then I got the other UV as well. And we're going to pluck the flashy boo away from the tail end of this one. And we're going to tie that in like so. And then we're going to tie this one, and you can't really, this one you really can't like pull anything away, so we just got to tie it in like we would anything else, and we're going to tie that in near the front, so again we don't get that lump. It's going to help create kind of the uniform body going all the way back. Now that I've got both those in, now we get to do where I tell you how I'm going to mash these together. And we're going to see if it works out. This is a complete and utter experiment. We'll put these together, and I'm going to grab these are my hackle pliers. That's just going to grab them together, and I'm going to start to just spin it up. What days do I stream? I normally stream Thursdays and Fridays. Thursdays are my days that I do with some sort of guest sometimes. And then Fridays are like my late night streams, like this one here, where I'm streaming, at least in my area, late. So there we go. So now I've twisted those up, and now they became kind of one big unit there. There's a little bit more fuller body in the middle, and then we got these strands coming off. And now what we're going to do, whoop, don't let go. I'll put that off to the side for a second. I'm going to do a half hitch here, a couple of those. I'm going to bring my swing arm around and have that sit out of the side here and hold my bobbin away. Yeah, they were handcrafted. So the tour guy that I went with, here, hold on, let me wrap this real quick and then we'll talk about it. It takes both my brain cells to do this. Just like that. Big bodied, nice and full. Now I can't stop buying jigs. I thankfully get mine made for me. My old man makes them for me. He's got a whole jig factory, and you guys can actually, again, we have made enough videos on this channel finally that I can start referring to videos. But there's a video called The Jig Factory, and you guys get to see like how all my jigs are made. He makes he's got a crazy like jig setup. Okay, we're just going to throw in a little bit of something near the front there, and we're going to call it a day. A little bit of something. And then I'll show you guys how I make my big salmon jigs because we got a bunch of new people in here. What do I want to throw in? Some flashy boo. Now we'll do a dubbing loop to square everything up here. And we'll throw in some, let's do some hollow dub. That looks sick, huh? Look at that stuff. Couple half hitches. And what we're going to do here is I have my line here. I know it's really hard to see. But as I'm going to wrap over while I'm holding a loop in my hand. And then I double over it a couple times. And then I can tie that in. And essentially what I've now created is a free loop here. And that's where the dubbing loop technique gets its name, is from the, well, loop that you create. I appreciate that, Ben, man. Thank you much, dude. I'm very much a smaller YouTuber, and I'm trying to make something of it, man. We've got some motion going for us now. We made it to 1,000 here recently, so super proud of that. I do shorts every day, some sort of fishing related short. I try and do a new video every Wednesday, and then Thursdays and Fridays are my stream days. So I'm putting on the grind for it, man. I try and give as much content out there as I possibly can, and all of it's fishing related. I'm a multi-species angler, so it's not just one species that I go for. So kind of keeps it fresh and entertaining, I think, too. Like, I'm not just a bass guy. I'm not just a salmon guy. I do it all. I do not know those guys. They fishing YouTubers. Okay, so basically we've added all this kind of in to our dubbing loop in some form and fashion. And then we're going to start spinning this up, and you're going to start to see that start to turn. And it's just going to keep turning and turning and turning and turning. Yeah, so their meat is very much like a colorful red if you get a good one. And we're going to get in here and we're going to kind of pluck some of these frees, and you're going to lose some of this. That's okay. Okay, whoa. No, I have not. I've never seen those guys, but I'll definitely after the stream have to go check them out. They pretty big in the what fishing scene are they in? Okay, so now that we've done that, we're gonna go back in with our hackle pliers here. We're gonna just go right above where our dubbing was, and now, well, we'll probably go a little bit higher than that. Just give ourselves some room here. Get our scissors, and we can cut off the rest of the string. It just makes it a little bit more manageable now to do these wraps. Basically, we just start going around. Kind of pulling these back as I go. Now that I've done that, I come back in with my thread line and basically just capture it where I want it to be, right near the front there. And then I can let that go. Cut off the extra. And then this is where I kind of get my OCD involved a little bit. I want to make sure I have most of these, if not all of these, kind of preamed back. I just do a last little bit of loops there. And then we come back in with our whip finish tool, crazy looking tool. Give a couple wraps, and we're good to go. Now we can cut off our main line. And all those weirdly loose strands are now going to be kind of pushed backwards on top of the chenille. And you get, all these really nice loose bits kind of moving backwards. And there you go. How long does it usually take to make a jig? Depends on how much you want to put into it. I make these just purely for myself. So I take as much time as I want to make them. I'm kind of making more or less here on YouTube with people, and then, as I need them. But ever since I started doing the YouTube thing, I haven't really necessarily needed any jigs because we are making jigs at a much higher quantity now than my need for them is. So, and then this marabou stuff, when it hits the water, here, I'll do this. you can start to see it starts to thin out, and now you get that kind of system going on. And these will do the same thing. Ben, I 100% use these for crappie. I have a video actually coming out here next Wednesday where I'm using these jigs for crappie. And Washington State, they are very hard to get crappie here, but we have them. Yeah, on past streams, I have this box here. This is all the stuff. I know it doesn't look like a lot, but this is actually a deep. Oh, just broke the box. Really? Just broke the box? Cheap plastic crap. But really, there's a lot in here. Here's some of like the past ones we've made. This is like a buck-tailed version of a crappie jig that we made. Got loose hair there. That was really good. And then holy Toledo, do I got a mess here. These are my big salmon jigs that I make. These are for salmon and steelhead, really. This is a 1/2 ounce jig. So, like, that is the jig head of a salmon one. That is the jig head of a crappie one. So you can just get an idea of the size difference there. These things, after throwing these all day, your arm will hurt. And then I make these kind of ones for salmon. Well, for steelhead, really. If I can get them apart. These are for like steelhead. Crazy looking lures, I know. Here's another one of my crappie jigs. I call this one the OG Kush. But yeah, I would love to go do some fishing down in Tennessee or something like that, dude. That would be sick. My old man, he actually makes bass lures as well. So I got a bunch of his jigs here that he makes. They're all handcrafted. Here's another salmon jig we've made. Maybe we'll make one of those up. Like I said, I haven't made one of those up in a hot minute. So for that, I'll need to go to my jig box, which is this here. And that thing's full different styles and types of jigs. Actually, I'm not going to go into that box. I'm going to go to my other box. I made these actually when I was over there last making jigs. Nope, this is my only stream this week, dude. What's going on, Oregon? Yeah, it's been a slow week for me. But for these bad boys, we're gonna have to move the camera back a little bit. They're sharp too. These are done on Kamagatsu 2x strong hooks. There we go. 1/2 ounce jig. And this one we're going to do really dark colors. This is like clear water. They seem to like the real dark colors. And then this is like my signature thing, I guess, if you want to call it that. So if I'm ever on the river or whatever, I know if I've tied something, because when you buy them in the store or anything like that, nobody puts the marabou in the tailpiece. That's kind of like, I don't know what you want to call it, but it's kind of like my signature, I guess. Yeah, farmed is much different than hatchery. There's a, I know it doesn't sound like they are, but they definitely are two different things for sure. What's that? Farmed? Yeah, yeah. At least around here, the ones that are hatchery salmon, they still do their natural life cycle in the ocean, and then they're coming back up the rivers. Um, they are hatchery, but they're not. They're basically in a way wild, I guess. And then there is actually native wild salmon as well, too. It's been a minute since I've tied one of these bad boys up. Okay, cut that off there. Just like that. Now, primarily, these guys are made out of rabbit zoinker strips. That's these guys here. So this is actually rabbit fur. And it's like strips of rabbit fur and leather. So what I'm going to do is with this one here, because this is a fresh bag, I kind of like to just split the ends. So we get 4 strands here going. There we go. So now we got all 4 strands kind of separated. And then I'm going to look for like a piece here that's fairly well straight. Like this here, I don't necessarily want that where the hair's all kind of going all cockeyed. I want them all kind of facing one direction, kind of like this one here, and all laying flat, because that's really the only important piece that we care about, that making the tail piece. And we're going to cut it right about there. And I'm going to cut the tail piece off just like that. That's our strip of leather with our tail. I'm going to tie that in. Ooh, I forgot a step. My signature piece. The marabou. Tie that marabou in just like so. Cut the crud off the front. Loose wraps all the way to the front, and then we cinch it down all the way running back. And voila, marabou in place. Now we put in our tailpiece. I remember that one documentary, they were saying that many farm salmon are blind and their outer skin is white due to the pellets and high concentrated CO2 levels. Imagine catching a car on an ultralight. Dude, that would be crazy. I've caught in a big old bass on an ultralight, and that was nuts in itself. Yeah, I've seen something similar, man. We don't farmed or even like if you're from the Pacific Northwest, you kind of get a little bit spoiled in a way, and you kind of become a prima donna about it. Like I don't even like to eat uh like Atlantic salmon. I think that's kind of gross. Pacific salmon is the only way. So adding that marabou in the back is just again like my signature piece, and then it adds just a little bit more foliage in the back. Once it hits the water, it's going to thin out, right? But it just gives it a little bit more volume towards the back end. I feel like the fish appreciate it, you know. Oh, carp, dude, that'd be insane. Patagonia made a film called Artificial or something and tried to convince people that farm salmon and hatchery salmon are the same. Yeah, that's crazy because they're all always about like protecting the rivers and all that stuff. If it's the same, that's not good for them. That's not good in general. PB is a 3 pound bass. Hell yeah, dude. You like eating salmon, dude? Me too, man. I have a bunch of smoked salmon in my freezer right now. I need to start eating up more. Okay, so now we're gonna go back in with our leather strips, and we're gonna go right on top of what we just did with our leather strip there. And we want to go just above midway because that's when we start adding in our legs and our secondary piece there. Do a couple half hitches. Oh yeah, dude. You just gotta keep trying, man. I keep telling everybody it's just about the amount of time you put on the water. That's it. Okay, now we're just going to start the wraps kind of backwards, and then I like to. You won't see me use the rotary much here because I like to. Hold on. Use my hands to kind of somewhat layer that leather on back, like on top of the last one, and so that way it's holding those hairs backwards. Okay, we made it to our halfway point. We're gonna tie that off like so. And then we're going to cut that remaining leather off. Then we'll come back just a little bit. Wrap that up so that way we don't lose that. All that progress we've made so far. My haircut, I just got it today, man. It's not all done up. My dude's not all done up, but I go to a barber shop here in my hometown. Kind of went with like a mullet thing. I always change my hairstyle up, man. I've never really stuck with one. It's never been my thing. I might try and stick with them as I get older, but for now, I ain't doing it. All right, we got to add a little bit, just a little bit of something to this. So we're gonna do these little silver flashing legs. Signature wingtips. Yeah, just a couple of wings coming out. All right, so these are a little bit different than what we did before. I take it, I wrap it around our bobbin line, and then I can bring it in. Oh, you know what I didn't do? I screwed up. Go to the front, then I wrap it around our bobbin line, like so. And then I pull back, and I head back all the way back to where our fur stops. The reason why I do that, again, keeps everything in line where it should be. Would salmon and jigs work good for smallmouth? I would think so. I would totally think so. Maybe you could do like some mixture of some sort of like Ned head with some fur on it. Would be pretty sick actually. Like just do some marabou on it as like an added little flair. I always try and do stuff that like most people don't. So if you're bank fishing for trout, something that you can try is if you're using like live worms. Um, I've done this many a times, and I've had people on the bank get mad at me because it was working so well. But like the day before you go fishing, especially if you're fishing on the bank with like worms, like live worms, buy your worms the night before, or if you have them the day before, in your kitchen, take like some garlic, whether it's like garlic powder is the best, but like garlic powder, garlic, those chunk garlics, or even just like straight garlic. Put it in the box that you have your worms in, and then just let that sit. And kind of mix it up a bit, and then let that sit. That scent gets on the worms, and then as they're kind of digging around, goes into the worms. And man alive, do the trout absolutely just love the smell of garlic, and you will hook up 10 times better than anybody around you. I promise. There's a little tip for you. How much is the equipment I use? So the stuff that I got is pretty expensive because I kind of been at it for a while. But you don't have to be. You can get a lot. You can get a straight kit online for really really cheap, and that gets you started. And then you can just upgrade the pieces as you see fit, or as you kind of go along. I think there's like kits online that are like $50, something like that. But like my vice, this vice right here, this purple vice, this is called the Renzetti Traveler. I actually saw Oregon Fishing Adventures. He had this one in one of his live streams, but I copied him. I really love this one. This one was actually gifted to me by my wife, but this one's like around $500 for this vice. I think. I think that's right. And then you need some sort of fly tying scissors. You're going to need a bobbin, and then you're going to need a whip finish. That's kind of the main tools for what you need. And a vise. You don't necessarily need a rotating vise, but I think you can get the rotating vices pretty cheaply now as well. So smell is so important for fishing. Yeah, it is, Hunter. And like I said, if you can do just small things to make you stand out from others, it can produce a lot more for you at the end of the day than others as well. I've noticed that too. Like you get to a lake and then all those guys are using the same lure. The fish, they're like, oh, the bite's not good. And then some guy uses something different. And then all of a sudden that guy's just hooking up like crazy. Okay. Now we got all this in. And these you want to create a bit of a head wrap to them because these salmon have really sharp teeth, and you want to make sure that you have a good wrap to keep everything together. Kind of got like an army thing going on here. Yeah, seriously, man. It's the army of the purple Renzettis, man. It's so funny that we all chose the same color too. Like there is other colors. I almost went with the blue, but the purple is just so damn pretty. Okay. Now comes the UV clear finish part. Now this is where it gets a little bit interesting because I like to put like a good layer of UV clear finish on the front of this thing. Oops, there you go. Purple is the best color. I like blue. Like honestly, like blue and green are my favorite colors. But purple is quickly becoming one of my more favorite colors as well. I'm just spreading that resin around on top of those threads, and then I'm spinning it for two reasons. Spinning it gets the bubbles out, and then it also makes everything nice and uniformed. If I stop, it'll start to droop to the bottom, and then you'll get kind of a concave at the top and then like a big bump at the bottom. Spinning it centers everything out. And then what we're going to do, we're going to hit it with the UV light. And that instantly sets that resin. Boom. Let me just do a little bit of maintenance. Cut those free. Cut those free. That is a army style salmon jig. That one's actually be killer, man. This one's gonna make it all its way to my personal box for sure. These are great for like low light, or I'm sorry, for like really sunny days and clear waters. Darker colors seem to do well. And we got that little bit of green on the front. She's a beaut. She's a beaut. They're gonna blow everything out. Yeah, kind of. Well, what do you say, guys? What should we do now? Darker? What do you mean? New pad? Oh, new pair. Oh, right on, dude. I'm still out here using my what is it? The dry fit ones. I think if those die out on me, I'll probably go with the pyramid ones. 2 trout jigs. Oh, you want to make one of these? I don't have the hooks right now for them to make them, honestly. I don't have a center pin rod set up, Palsy. I was talking about getting one. I really want one. I really, really, really want one. But all my salmon rods and all that stuff I got some pretty decent ones. Like they're all Daiwas. Well, no, they're all Akuma rods with Daiwa reels and that kind of stuff. If you're if you're in the chat on one of my live streams, I'll make sure to have some hooks ready for you, and we can tie some up on another live stream because I don't have any hooks to make the double lines yet. I usually make like a bunch of those in advance, and then we sit here and tie a bunch of them. But let's see, what do we got? Let's tell you what. I'll tell you what. Here's we'll make the fly that I recommend anybody ties if they're wanting to make anything regarding. Ooh, I do have some hooks we can make some double setups with. So I will tie those up and make those up on the next live stream. But like I was going to say, this will be the fly that I recommend to people if they're just getting into tying flies or anything of that nature, because it's going to teach you the basics of how to tie flies. And if you can master this particular fly, you can pretty much master any fly. Oh, if you don't drop your hook in the carpet, which I just did. Oh, I'm sure I'll find that with my foot. Oh, wait, hold on. I found it. So this is, feel free to make a screenshot if you want, but this is the Kamigatsu B10S stingers. These are really nice hooks for anybody that's doing like any kind of trout fishing. Now, if you're fishing from the bank, you can use flies on a regular rod. You do not need to use a fly rod to use flies. And sometimes I will say to you that flies will produce better than actual conventional spinner gear because it's a little bit of a smaller presence, and fish seem to go after it if they're being a little bit finicky. So, but anyway, this is a good hook because it's got a wide gap to it. And that's why I like them. I like that wide gap because most fly fishing flies are going to be real narrow through here. And I feel like I don't get as good bites as I do if I have a wide gap mouth. So. And we got black already on, so we'll just do a black style woolly bugger, which again is one of my favorites. Actually, no. We'll do an egg-sucking leech. So it's still black, but it's called the egg-sucking leech because we're going to use red line to tie this up. Man, it has been a minute since you guys have seen me tie an actual fly on this channel. There we go. So, basics of tying flies. This is your hook eye. This is your shank. And then this is your bend of your hook down here, right? When you're doing your bobbin and your thread, to start off with, what you saw me do was I like held the front and then I spun up on top of it. And that allows me to get the start going. And then really, as far as like the line goes, I only go to just about the bend of the hook and then I stop. That's as far as I go. Now some guys will do like a double wrap here because this is really kind of your base. And so it kind of helps to hold everything well in line, and it just kind of builds the fly up a little bit at the beginning. And they'll do like 2 or 3 even wraps. That's the key, is even, um, to kind of build up the base of the fly. And then there you go. So now we have the base basically done there. Then you're going to take a type of feather called a marabou, which is this stuff here. It's real flowy, really fluffy stuff. You can get it in different types, but you just want regular marabou. It works best. And you can get it in just tons of different colors as well. But like I said, we're going to make the egg-sucking leech. So in here, you're going to see some with like major stems in them and that kind of stuff. Not necessarily what we're looking for. You can use them, but to start off with, if we don't want to fight it as much, you're looking for something kind of like this here, right? It doesn't have much of a stem to it. Ooh, even this one's even better. So we'll use this guy here. Just pluck that feather out of there. There is a stem in there, but it's not very thick, and so it's very thin, so you get to use a bunch of this marabou in one go, basically. And then the key for the marabou on a fly is pinch your fingers where you want it to be. So I guess where you want it to start at the tail. And where you want it to start at the tail is you want to start it pretty much in line. Like, we're not going to use a lot of this feather, really. You want to pretty much start it in line with the back of the shank. Kind of see that there? Where the feather and the shank are almost in line. That's how we know to create our tail length. There you go. You don't have to be perfect about it, but... And then we're going to tie that in just like that. And then you've seen me do this all before. I get rid of the gunk. And we want to cut it kind of near the head there. Don't want to crowd the hook eye, so I might actually take a little bit more off. Because that is a problem that I have a lot, is crowding the hook eye. Go all the way to the front. And then we work our way back. Boom. Now we have our tail. Oops. There you go. Now we have our tail. Now there's some pieces in here. You can see it. Don't worry about that. That's all gets covered up here in a minute. By our next piece that we're going to tie in, our next 2 pieces actually. Once I find it, that is. So the next piece you're going to need is called chenille. I've got all kinds of different tones here. These are all different color tones, right? Oops. I got even more in here, like a ridiculous amount of color tones in here. But for the egg-sucking leech, what we want is we just want black, which I got right here. And then I like to cut myself off a piece. I lose some in this regard, but I'm okay with that. If you really want to be like frugal about it, then don't cut it off of like your big strand, and you just kind of got to fight it a little bit. But I'd rather just fight it, and then if I have leftover, then I've accepted that I've lost it. But what you saw me do there is I just plucked the little bit off the front of it, and that just exposes the inner wires there of it, or the inner thread. And then you just place that on top, and you're going to tie that on top of everything and you get it really close to the tail. There you go. Okay, we're going to pause that off to the side because we need that in a minute, but not right now. And then you're going to need saddle hackle. So I have this red stuff here. This is Grizzly saddle hackle. Okay. And what I'm looking for here is something that's kind of got thin strands to it, just like this one. That's the type of feather we want for this thing. I know what you're thinking. For first fly, there's a lot of pieces to this. But yes, there's a lot of pieces, and you're going to need a decent amount of supplies. But every piece of this is teaching you like some basics of fly tying, which we've already kind of gotten a little bit of. And as you kind of start off this one, you start to get better, I promise. And you've already known like a lot of the techniques to do certain things, and you can kind of experiment off something like this. But then we're going to tie that feather in right there near the back, and then we're going to move everything, or our thread anyway, up to the front. And then we're going to tie that off like so, and like so. Hackle gauge, I do not know. I'm not that advanced over here, dude. FYI, this was the half hitch that I was talking about earlier. So take the line, you go around your finger one time, you create a little bit of a loop there, and then you just kind of put it right on top. I was kind of terrible, but I like to pinch it more. I use 2 fingers, and then I can control where I put it. And then I use my left hand to pull that bobbin back. When you do a half hitch, basically it saved that line right there, and so it won't unspool on me as I go to do the next part, which would be wrapping this thing up. So I'm going to go back to the chenille, and we just start wrapping that forward. This is where a rotary vise comes in handy. I'm going to stop right about there, I think, because I want to do the egg suck and leech part. And then just wrap around that a couple times. And that's going to save that right where we need it. And then I cut off the excess. Then we go back to that saddle hackle. Now, actually, we're going to go here and half hitch this just because. Ooh, see? My half hitch was not good enough. It wanted to unravel on me there. There we go. Okay. Now you will see me not use my rotary here because I prefer not to on this. Because I lied. I'm going to use my rotary on this. This one's not acting right. But this one, I'm just going to do open spirals, and I'm just kind of watching that feather, and I want to make sure that it's kind of sitting sideways and we're doing a good pattern as we kind of come across to the front of this fly. Just like that. See, I don't like that. We're going to start over. Wait, my wraps weren't tight enough. I get really particular with this piece. That'll work. We'll come back through. You definitely should, man. I think it would, like I said, this is what I started out with. This is what my gramps made me make all the time to just learn with. I gotta get that thing out of my way. Then we make the egg piece, if you will. I don't need to do much with that because we're going to come back in here in a minute with some resin and finish that off. But I want to make sure I don't crowd that hook eye. We're already getting real close, so let's stop while we're ahead here, and we're going to use our finishing tool. I know it's blurry, but give me a second, guys. And we're just going to finish that bad boy off like that. A couple loose strands I'm trying to get at here. I don't know where my pliers went. There you go. Okay. So that's it so far. Then for this piece, the egg sucking part, I can use resin, and we're going to build up basically a ball on the front of this. Yeah, I don't have my bobbin. Actually, that worked out really good. I don't have to move it around much. And then we're going to use our flashlight, set everything in. I might want to go another round. Let's see if we can do it. We might screw everything up here, but I always like to get a nice big old fat head on these things. See, we crowded the eye, but by me putting that hook in there before I set it, and I've kept the path at least. Yeah. We kind of screwed up on the eye there. Damn it. I should have just quit while I was ahead. It's all right. Might be able to go back. Yep. We're going to reset that. Oh no. Did I really lose music? Sorry, guys. Good news is the resin wasn't set all the way, so we can get another shot at this. This time I won't get greedy. There we go. I'll take that any day. Oh yeah, there you go. Big pen, yeah. But I'll take that. But yeah, the whole point of like the hackle and the tail and all this in a woolly bugger is to kind of teach you the basics, and then you can basically expand off of that. Teaches you how to wrap a fly, teaches you how to wrap hackle, teaches you how to put in marabou, which is all pretty basic for most fly fishing stuff. But there it is, egg sucking leech. And I'm not kidding you. I will tie this on the back of like a wedding ring in place of a regular hook, and it just kills. But we've tied up a variety tonight, guys. We started off with the shad dart dig. Then we moved into roundhead jig, a variation of that. Then we did my favorite, that jig there, another roundhead jig. Then we went to a salmon jig. And then we went finally to our fly. That's it, guys. I'm going to call it a night. If you're new to my channel, thank you so much for hanging out with me. Appreciate it. If you haven't already, make sure you guys drop a subscribe. If you're not new and you're one of the old heads here, I appreciate you guys all the same. And I thank you guys for hanging out my stream. Cave Fishing Pro, thank you so much, brother. Palsy Way, you're an OG. Hunter, you're an OG. Oregon goes without saying it, brother. You're awesome. But you guys have a good night. Later, guys.